The At Home Show.
Here at the At Home Show, we ask the tough questions. The questions that require the kind of scholarly thinking that only we can muster. Questions like, what happens if you tear from the other end of the ketchup packet? Is it true you shouldn't round up to the next dollar after the gas pump has stopped because your tank is full? Is it considered cruel and unusual punishment to let someone eat a steak overly well done? Why does Josh talk so much? That, my friends, is the question we'll be answering today. Live from the Green Room Studios, from the spacious property of Bates Nursery and Garden Center, 3810 Whites Creek Pike, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
All right, game on. All right, it's on. All right, everybody, hey, calm down in studio here, because I tell you what, we've got an action-packed, fun-filled. Oh my goodness! Information's coming on the At Home program.
And
here.
the Moose Man has started off talking smack right at the outset. So.
That's okay. That's all right.
So what do you got to say about that, Josh? About you talking
I talk too much. I know. It's okay. That's all right.
It's probably best if you just keep quiet.
All right. We can do that.
Yeah, well, we'll wait until after the next hour because we do need Josh's valuable input. You know, this is a show about really it's landscaping and home improvement. But we don't want to. Obviously, we're at a nursery. We got a lot of plants. We talk that a whole lot, but there's also home improvement issues that lie outside of the flora that you may see on display here. So be mindful of that. And we'll take your questions, 615-499-66.
We'll have to respond in writing, though, because we can't talk about it.
No, you just need to use like Morse code.
Okay, I'm going to give the number without you talking over the top of it.
Beep.
615-499-6690. See, you cut me off right in the middle of the phone number, and somebody might be hanging on.
That's what I was talking about. You know, it's...
Okay, so anyway, and if you want to call us and leave a voicemail, certainly you can. You can also text us, and you can also go out to the At Home Show Facebook page or Instagram page and leave questions there. So, and Josh, before we even go to the weather, I understand you've got a comment that we need to get out there regarding. Should we go straight to? Can you bring that up on your screen and I'll switch over to you because I know everybody's waiting on the weather and it's important and it's coming.
I'm
but
sharing to Twitter just at the moment, but we'll bring it back up here. On the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates Facebook page, of course, you have your profile picture. You have your banner picture up in front. Not quite. I'm working. I'm talking at the same time, and I'm typing, and it becomes difficult to do sometimes. But yeah, go. We're ready now. This is lovely, perfect, wonderful tomato.
yeah, you changed the profile picture.
Yes, I've been known to do that.
What are you on there?
I think I'm on 2. Anyway,
I don't know that.
You can
going smoothly.
You can view it on the At Home Show page, but I put a picture of a tomato there just because we only put a couple of notifications out during the week on the page because it gets to be a little bit notifications. I don't know about you guys, but they kind of become overwhelming.
Notified to death about
Try number 2 again. I don't think this was plugged in all the way.
Okay. Well, let me try it one more time. We're off to a rollicking
scintillating programming here on the
We're off to a
Show.
Rollicking start here on the At Home Show. I don't see anything happening there. I don't know. And so anyway, we will proceed along the path.
But we had I wouldn't necessarily say a troll, but it might be a
trawler.
It's one of those Facebook warriors, keyboard kind of guys. You know,
He took exception to your tomato, Josh.
what he said, Robert, was that's a sorry looking tomato. I'm sorry.
That was a very insensitive thing for he doesn't know how fragile Josh is, and that's the kind of comment that can just send someone who's right on that edge right over the edge. And I'm just saying, be careful. Point that stuff at Josh,
because we have ways.
Josh is a man that lives on the verge.
There we go.
On the edge.
There we go.
I'm on the edge. Now, what's wrong with that tomato?
There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing wrong with it, Josh.
That's the first one from the garden this year.
I think that's a really perfectly good example.
The only thing wrong with it might use a little salt, maybe a little pepper.
It's going on a bacon and mater sandwich.
Same difference.
Okay. Huh?
It's still
same difference.
Point stands. Salt.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what you put it on. Salt, pepper.
You don't need to do that when you have properly cured bacon.
Okay, well, we'll resume our
It's still going to be hot.
It's still going to be hot, and it is, of course, Saturday, the 24th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this month is getting by quickly.
6 months till Christmas.
High of 92 degrees today, and I don't know if any of you were up at 5 a.m. this morning and got to see the full moon.
Yes.
It was spectacular. So anyway, there's that. Mostly sunny today. Pretty calm winds. A really nice day. It was hot yesterday, but not oppressively hot. It's just for July, not too bad. Tomorrow we're going to have some sun in the mornings, but mostly clouds and a thunderstorm chance in the afternoons, as it will be the case on Monday, 88. We're going to cool just a bit. And then we start to turn back upwards a little bit by Tuesday, 91, 94 on Wednesday, 96 on Thursday. Then we maybe cool back down to 92 on Friday. And currently it's 70 degrees here in the Music City. So, it's very typical July weather. There's nothing remarkable about it. We're not having anything severe, thankfully. And there are places around the planet that cannot say that. The folks in Germany and Belgium had a terrible time of it last week with flooding conditions, and we certainly are not strangers to that. It's devastating. So,
and fires out west.
And fires out west, of which we all got to sample the past couple of days with the smoke in the atmosphere. Although it made for some beautiful sunrises and sunsets, the breathing part in between was a little more difficult.
I feel like I got a pretty good, I'm pretty good on the breathing stuff, but we was outside working on Wednesday.
Right.
And even on Wednesday, I remember going, man, this is kind of tough today. So
it almost made you want to break out a face covering, even though you don't require to wear.
Yeah.
At least we all know we have them.
Yes.
Should we need one, we have them accessible now. So anyway, that's the forecast for today. And so the operative word is get out and enjoy, because it's going to be a wonderful weekend. 615-499-6690.
Does anybody need to do any weeding in their beds?
Oh, I suspect.
Uh-huh.
They're growing.
Does anybody need to water something? Probably.
Almost certainly. Matter of fact, I can't see, if you're a really ardent gardener, that there's a day that can go by where you have no watering requirements. Zero. I can't see that there actually is. Want to go ahead and bring up our Cary and Austin standing by over on the performance end, the demonstration end of the studio. Good morning, Cary. Good morning, Austin. And
hey guys.
We know we've got some questions out there, Cary, on Instagram. You want to put something out there and see if we can tackle it?
Let's get it started. My storm door is not shutting all the way. I've tried adjusting the closer with mixed luck, and it looks like the bottom of the door is rubbing the bottom of the threshold. Help. And that's from Tie Cakes. Take it away.
Tie Cakes.
All right, Josh.
So
we've got a door that appears to be out of square, perhaps hanging. It's not necessarily a simple fix, is it?
Well, it's one of those things, and for me, working in multiple dimensions, which you're going to be in a vertical plane, and you're probably going to be in a horizontal plane in some cases. The thing that you need to keep in mind is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So what you're thinking about this adjustment, what you might want to look at and storm doors have different kinds of hinges on them. You might see that if the top is a little bit loose and wiggly, that's a technical term.
Wiggly. All right.
And tighten that screw up. You've got
Something has changed, obviously.
something has changed below, possibly above, but more likely something below the threshold of where it's going to be.
So what do you think about the possibility of opening the door just slightly ajar and getting some kind of a wedge to just ease the door up onto it and then back your screws off the hinges enough to allow it to perhaps nudge back up just a little bit, because somehow it has settled. Something has changed that's causing it to impact on the inside of the door. It sounds like it's not.
It sounds like to me that from what the description came is that the door will not fully close and engage when they want it to.
And the nature of metal frames it's hard to get in there and do much, sanding to really make a difference. Metal is.
Well, a storm door is attached to the wood, so you might want to double check and make sure that wood, the brick molding or the casing of some sort that's on the outside, has not pulled loose a little bit to bang on it. Good old rubber mallet. Smack.
Gently.
Don't hit the door.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but you can.
We'll see. It's a very fact-dependent thing, and it's only going to get worse, so play around with it a little bit and see what's going on.
Yeah, if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, so you tend to address it that way. So.
Well, and again, don't get frustrated, and it would probably be a very good idea to have a helper on this so you can have that door and you can push it.
Yep.
And it could be the hinge on the door on the frame.
You see a lot of the old style doors that have cable running from corner to corner with a turnbuckle where you can adjust it, and that's to pull that door back up into square. So it's a possibility, depending on what this door is like, that could be it, if it is indeed a wooden frame type of screen.
Not screen door, storm door.
Storm door.
Hey, I got a question.
Very likely it could have gotten caught by the wind. That's a very common problem with them as well, and it just needs to be tightened back up.
Does the hot weather change doors?
Oh,
Because
yes.
I swear I've noticed our door. We have a bathroom door here at the nursery, and it used to open and close freely with no problem. It's gotten hot the past couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and it catches now.
Well, I don't think it's the heat. I think it's the humidity.
Yeah, the wood
swells.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering because it definitely has affected it.
Yep, it definitely does.
It'll cure itself.
Yeah.
Just wait till winter.
It'll cure it. It'll do it.
It'll go
Have you
away.
ever noticed that you probably have a squeaky floor somewhere in your house? I know you do, sir.
I've got one.
Does it come and go with the seasons?
It does.
Yes, it does. So
You can always tell it's autumn.
it's always a bright and shiny day.
All right. Well, Cary, you got anything else over there on the Instagram side?
Yes, I do. Recommendations for killing off large areas of grass and weeds for a new bed, and that's from TZH56.
Okay,
TZ.
Austin, why don't you talk about? There's a couple of ways you can do it with a chemical approach. You can also do it with a barrier approach that you put down for a period of time. So why don't you discuss that for a moment?
All right. Yeah. The use of herbicides is obviously something that a lot of people do. Roundup. There's a number of chemicals out there that will kill grass, weeds, broadleaf weeds, trees, stumps, a lot of things. So you can always go the chemical approach. If you want to avoid that, like David was talking about, use a plastic type barrier. So a big sheet of plastic. We've talked about this: black plastic, clear plastic, white plastic. Which one's better? Which one kills grass? To me, every single one of them work pretty much. If it's hot like it is this summer, then anything's going to work. I was talking to my coworkers the other day about this, and I've got 3 young daughters, and we've got pool floats. They're in the pool almost every single night.
Your soul, young man.
Yes. 3 of them under 5. Anyway.
That means that 3 of them will be teenagers at the same time.
I know that. Thank you. So anyway, we've got all sorts of toys and pool toys and things like that. And I've noticed that, say, a pool toy gets left in the grass for just 2 days. I come back home, and most of that grass up underneath that pool float is dead or dying. So really anything you can use. I know large pieces of carpet I've seen being used as a way to kill off grass. So there's a number of ways to do it. In this heat, it doesn't really matter what you use. Get something on top of the grass, get the sunlight off of it, get the warmth and the heat down below on that grass, and it'll usually take care of it.
Yeah, I would tell you this: of those choices, though, if you're going to go out and purchase something to do this with, purchase black plastic.
I agree.
It will completely blocks the light. It will build up more heat, and it will not only kill off the vegetation. You will sterilize the surface, so you won't have now that's a good bad thing. And then one, it kills off a lot of harmful things, but it also can kill off beneficial things. So when you go back to replant that area, you may want to consider incorporating some things that are going to reintroduce some living organisms into the soil, such as compost. Supernatural is one we have here at Bates Nursery, and that will go a long way towards a reintroduction of mycorrhiza fungi and humic acid, and those kind of things that you may lose in the process of sterilization through heat and buildup through plastic.
Cautionary tale to our questioner about the storm door. If you by chance end up having to take this storm door off the hinges, don't lay it in the grass because it will do it quicker than the plastic. Roundup, nuclear bomb almost.
It may not kill it, but it will certainly scorch it fast. I mean,
within minutes,
within maybe even seconds. You do not put that door lying down directly on it unless you're going to put something else.
Lean it up against the porch right in front of your rose bushes or your petunias or whatever.
But that's one of those projects that unless it's something that you're very familiar with and do a lot, which you like, it's unlikely. You really need an extra person to kind of give you a hand there. So because it's a little unwielding, it's a little difficult. If you come out here to Bates Nursery, you'll see that this is the time of year when we do all manner of projects, and we're working on we got all manner of stuff. We've got
boss made the guys move from one side to the other and then back it over here and all week long.
We've got Cary's domain all disrupted. All of her things are out under the overhang because we're redoing the entire garden center greenhouse area, and so hopefully within a couple of weeks we'll have that completed and be back in there. But if you come out today, you'll see what we're doing there and the progress we're making, or perhaps the lack thereof.
We just had a new like on the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates Facebook page.
Do you have a name for
Lisa Sutton?
Well, Lisa Sutton, good morning, Lisa. We need to have you back on the program sometime soon. And of course, Lisa is the daughter of Lynn Anderson, and
beautiful rose.
And she's also the obviously the main proponent for the Lynn Anderson rose, which is out and about. So Lisa, welcome and good morning to you. So 615-499-6690. That's the way that you can reach us here telephonically. Either text us or leave a voicemail. Instagram, Facebook. Go out to the At Home Show sites on those and check that out. And Tyler, are you queued up there, ready to run our first little spot? Are you? Or
absolutely.
He stays queued up. That's the way he rolls. Well, why don't we take a short little break for this, and then we'll be right back.
Okay, let's talk about the number 15 just for a second. 15 is a lucky number. It's a triangular number, a hexagonal number, a pentatope number. It's the fifth Bell number, a composite number, its proper divisions being 1, 3, and 5. Here's something else that's pretty cool about the number 15. Bates Reward members receive 15% off your entire purchase, in-store only, again, excluding gift cards and deliveries. So come in by the end of the day, July 29th, and save on everything, all plants, all soils, amendments, and mulches, bagged or bulk, potteries, trees, shrubs, and ground cover, everything. So if you don't get here, the only person you have to blame is yourself. With that being said, it's really worth the drive from anywhere to head out to Bates Nursery and Garden Center. at 3810 Whites Creek Pike, just a mile north of Briley Parkway, minutes from downtown Nashville. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
And thank you, Tyler and Michael, for your efforts on that spot. That saved me that many words. And,
Hexagonal.
Hexagonal, yeah.
Hexagonal.
Hexagonal.
15 is a very interesting number.
It is.
It's a pentatope.
A who?
A pentatope. I don't know what that means, but that's what the Wikipedia page says.
And
It's on Wiki. It's got to be true.
And strangely enough, in Espanol, the word 15 is quince, which, if you look at it spelled in English, it spells the word quince, which is like the flowering quince. It's spelled exactly
nice.
the same way. So if you're ever see that word in Spanish, they're not talking about a plant. It's the number 15. So anyway, that is true. What he said, the 15% off everything in store, excluding gift cards and delivery. So come on out and see us. That goes through the end of business on Thursday. So come on out, bring photographs on your smartphone or on your tablet along with you, and our landscape professionals will help you to get the right plants in the right place the first time. That's the way we do it here at Bates Nursery.
Well, I think you still should offer it on the deliveries, David. You just because we've talked about this in the past. I mean, if you used 85% of your delivery charge, it'd be like going if you live in Laverne. You only stop at the
Bell Road.
Bell Road, yeah.
Yeah. Take it to Bell Road. There's that's what you get. I think that might create a few more problems than it would resolve. So we're going to go ahead and keep it like it is. I appreciate your wonderful suggestions, though. That could also apply to lumber. If you're getting a certain discount on lumber, it only get you that percent towards the job site. And of course, we need to be able to get things to where we need to use them
in a timely and accurate fashion.
Right. Yes, Michael.
You were talking about pictures. If this thing's working, the third HDMI
is it plugged? I don't see a power light on it. Is
right here.
Okay, I'm looking for the green light on this side. And it has to be working because you just unplugged it.
It just recognized it, I think.
Okay.
Well, HDMI 3, that's me.
All right. Well, I'm going to give it. We're going to give it a go here and see what happens.
Oh boy.
And
3, 2.
Something's trying.
Something. I don't know.
Something.
There we go. Oh.
So when you can see it, those are some fan flowers from here at my mom's house.
Look quick.
Look quickly. Yeah, this is really great.
This is exciting. Keep it going.
Awesome.
We're going to go back to that one right there because it's a little bit more. At least it's a little more steady.
I tried, Mom. She wanted to show off her flowers. I tried.
If we could go to the other side of the room, I could maybe take a look at it for y'all.
Well, we'll be okay. Michael, just send it over to me. I'll see if I can get it up on two.
We're for whatever reason we're having issues with by switching out of it now. There we go. Let's come back up.
That's the good number to dial, 615-499-6690 if you would like to join us.
Yeah, and we'd love for you to join us and interact and discuss what's going on in your yard, your landscape. Of course, we're in the midst of July, actually nearing the end of July. I think this time next week, month is over. So
it is.
That's the way it works. I think it's the 29th is next Saturday, so we're getting very close to the end of it, which means that the days are beginning to get shorter and all those things that are associated with the certainty that fall will be coming. As hot as it might seem, it will return. Always does.
3 weeks from today as well. And this I know fall's coming. My little boy will turn 3, and that's usually like our last hurrah of the summer is his birthday party.
Well, you've gotten good at birthday parties this year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you got a clown?
Nope, I got a 10-foot tall dinosaur sprinkler.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, now a lot of people, of course, we don't want to hasten on the thought about fall. We're still very much in the patio time of year. People they have interesting planters and things around their deck behind the house or on their pool area or on the patio. One of which could be like a hardy banana, right, Tyler?
That's right. I wonder who could have that.
I wonder who could have that. That's my attempt to do a smooth segue and also give Tyler the heads up all in one fell swoop. So how about it, Tyler? You got that?
I sure do.
Hey, because it's worth a grow.
Oh, yeah.
With Austin.
It's worth a grow with Austin.
Hey y'all, Austin here. Today I'm talking about hardy bananas. Musa bosju is the actual variety name of this plant, and these plants are amazing. They are hardy bananas that are truly hardy, come back every year without a problem, and they come back from the ground every year without a problem. So these specific ones were started with just 3 individual plants that he had planted in here, and now you can see how many little new ones have come up from the roots. That's the thing, these things die back every year from the top, and then they regrow from the roots, and they regrow bigger and better. But you get no better tropical plant than this, especially say around a pool area, that comes back and gets like 12 to 15 feet tall every single season from the ground, which is truly staggering to me. These plants are filled with water. If you were to cut this in half right now, you would see they would just drain water out of them. They're fairly thirsty plants, so you kind of want to keep them moist if you can, not in a dry spot if you can help it. But look at these individual fronds up here. I mean, leaves up here, they can get like 6 feet long in a season. It's just incredible. There's no other plant that I know that grows as fast as this one. So if you're looking for that tropical look, say around your pool, or just really anywhere to get a good screening effect with some huge green leaves, these block out almost everything. It's a wonderful plant to grow, and I think you ought to grow it too.
All right.
Very well done.
Yeah,
It's very intriguing.
And those actually were at the at Tyler's home. Is that correct, Tyler?
That is correct, yes.
Was that a hot tub I saw back there too?
That is my swimming pool. It's a cold tub.
Cold tub.
It's, it's perfect for floating in. That's about it.
So, and you've had those bananas out for how many years now, right?
They've been there probably 7 years.
Okay, so
6 or
they've
7.
gotten quite mature looking. Now, one thing you won't get with those hardy bananas is bananas. You're not going to ever see fruit on them, nothing that will certainly ripen anyway.
Definitely not the ripen part, but they do flower and they do produce
little green bananas.
Yeah. And I mean, the bees love it still, and it's just a fun process. Also, the flowers, insane looking, this huge dangling head that's kind of like a cone shaped, I guess.
I think this is probably
Now, if you were to plant these next to monkey grass, what would happen?
Oh, they talk about a quandary because is the repulsive force of the monkey grass strong enough to keep the attractive force of the bananas to keep the monkeys away?
But if you had the attractant type of
the quite literal unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Very much so. So you got to be mindful of that. One thing I will relate a story back from the Wayback Machine in my mind. In 1980, I lived in Hawaii, and I was renting a place. A buddy of mine and I were from some folks, and there was a big banana tree, not a hardy banana. Of course, they're all hardy in Hawaii, but this one had a full stalk of bananas on it, full stalk. But they were starting to rot at the bottom, and they weren't getting them off. So I thought, well, you know what? I will help out the process here, and I'll take these bananas down, and maybe they'll let me have some of them. So anyway, I get the ladder out because they're way up, and I get the machete and I lift up the stalk with one hand. I said, "Okay, I got it," and I cut it and whoosh immediately. So I'm able to throw the machete away to keep from impaling myself on it. But gravity, as it turns out, sucks pretty much everywhere.
Yes.
And when you're trying to hold one-handed 120 pounds of bananas on a ladder with an ouch, it doesn't work.
Physics is against you.
Quite so. And then I had to deal with the then young boy who was crying because he said I stole his bananas, and so I gave him all the bananas back, and then his mom made him give me some of them back. So anyway,
it just sounds like really a dramatic time about some bananas.
It was it was a pretty dramatic time. I was living on the edge.
Hallie cut the man's bananas.
It sounds like a PBS afternoon special.
It does.
There's a few more details that probably could be squeezed in there, but not this morning.
Speaking of squeezing in there, we got a question on the Bates Facebook page.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
New house with a lot of granite rocks. Soil is high pH. Besides chelated iron, what else would you add to the soil?
A lot of granite in Middle Tennessee?
Okay, so let's just
More likely
address this.
Limestone.
Let's address this one. I'm assuming that they have the knowledge with certainty that the pH is indeed high and not just speculative. So we'll just go from that standpoint. There are a lot of things you can use, a lot of compounds, all containing sulfur that you can use to lower the pH. The best of which, however, is sulfur, just the elemental sulfur. Now, it doesn't work so quickly. However, it lasts for much longer. It's a near permanent pH adjustment fix. So you could use aluminum sulfate or magnesium sulfate.
Solucal?
Soluble calcium would be beneficial. Austin, what else ideas
Gypsum.
you got about that?
Gypsum, I guess, is a good one. Yeah.
Yes.
Helps loosen the clay soils. Yeah, lower pH. A lot of
The main thing is we're hoping that this is that this knowledge has been documented by some process, whether it's with a pH meter or
And
maybe
a soil test.
Yeah, and a soil test to help you know with certainty. That way it gives you some idea as to how much you need to apply to effect a change. The one thing about sulfur is it takes almost 6 months for it to really make a change. So if you apply now, it's going to be winter before you really see.
And we're assuming that we want to have a fescue lawn. If this is in the lawn care, I would say that we would probably be good to put your sulfur down, and then as the aeration and overseeding season comes, because that starts on legally on September 1st.
After Labor Day.
Yeah.
Well, I will say it's very unlikely that your pH is really high. And I don't know what really high is. If it's just above 7, it probably doesn't. It's not going to be noticeable. You'd have to be up in the approaching 8 range for it to really be problematic. Did I see a hand go up over there?
I was just tossing something.
Oh, okay. 615-499.
You gonna send her to the principal's office?
Well, I don't know. I just saw a hand up there. Well, from my vantage point, all I see is the monitor. Unless she sticks her hand up, then I can see
And
her
then you
hand.
can see that right now.
So
Well, she's a
what you
constant
can't-
cleaner of leaves.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been cleaning leaves and throwing them at Austin. So now everyone knows.
There we go.
Cary, have we got anything else out there on the Instagram?
Yes, we do. We actually have 2 more questions.
All right.
A lot of the lower leaves on my tomato plants are looking bad. Should I be worried, and what can I do? And
yes,
that comes
number
from
one,
Baby Girl 76.
Number one, always if you're somewhat worried, double up on your worry.
Yes.
Because a lot of plant problems occur as a result of
Lack of worry.
Lack of worry, yes. So, but in addition to that, Austin, what else we need to be thinking about?
With tomatoes this time of year, that is very, very common for your lower leaves to start getting yellow and look rough. It's just part of it. What I like to tell people a lot of times is that we like to eat the fruit. We don't like to eat the leaves. So less leaves sometimes is better. It's okay to just have leaves up top and not a lot of leaves down low. So being clean with your tomatoes is something that's a good practice to start doing. If you start seeing yellowing lower bottom leaves that look rough, spotty, whatever, just take them off. There's no sense. They're not getting back green, y'all. They're not going to turn around and come back and look perfect again with any magical spray or whatever you want to do.
And as any plant you can think of,
Yes.
pretty much, when the leaves start looking bad, they're almost, without exception, always down low and on the interior. And the reason being is that they're not getting enough light.
Or airflow.
Yeah. And that's why they are on there, is to provide photosynthesis. Right. And if they're not able to add to their liability, so they get shed off and new leaves are coming out on top. So that's really what you need to look at when you're thinking about the tips. Tell you a whole lot more generally than does a random leaf or 2 or 3 lower down.
Exactly, yeah. When it comes to tomato plants, your problems are not bad if they're down low. The problem, if you start seeing problems with spotting or yellowing or weird looking leaves on the tops of the plant, then you've got an issue, and that's something we can talk about. But if it's just lower leaves, y'all just pluck them off, get rid of them. The fruit's going to still produce even without those lower leaves.
Okay, well, so talk about that for a moment. So I'm sure we've got people out there who are having perhaps seeing some issues like that. What are the things they need to be thinking about to resolve that issue?
Well, one thing is that sometimes planting more is a little bit better sometimes. If you do start seeing leaves that are getting bad on top, especially like oddly spotting, which could be like an early blight or a late blight, you know, those are kind of peg words we all kind of think of when it comes to blight. It's a real deal, and if it starts from the top and starts to work itself down, and then you start to get fruit that's odd or weird looking, sometimes just getting rid of that whole plant is better in the long run than trying to use some sort of spray to get rid of it. So if you've got 10 plants and you've got 1 or 2 that are starting to do that and look bad and not produce, get rid of them. Just deal with 8 this season.
Yeah, you really need to destroy them. You need to take them. You get them, not just pull them out, but
don't throw them in the compost pile.
You be clean. Don't be all shaking them around. You know, be gentle with them. Pull them out, put them straight in a trash bag, straight in the woods, whatever.
Yeah, and clean up all of the foliage. Yes, everything that has dropped down around it, because you don't want that pathogen, whatever it is that's giving you a problem, to get spread to the others. Now, sometimes those problems can be a result of perhaps poor drainage,
poor soil.
Right. There could be other things that are impacting the way that they're growing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about this miracle that I heard about this week?
What miracle is that, Josh?
And it kind of goes with banana trees and banana plants. Supposedly, you can take your banana peels and soak them in a gallon jug. That was the specific. It was
got to be a gallon.
Got to be a gallon jug
of
water.
Okay.
Let them sit for 24 to 48 hours, and then remove the banana,
the blackened
peels.
Yeah.
And then that is supposed to be that concoction, that potion, poured around your tomato. Poured.
We've got the Josh variant from Up in the Hills. That's what we did this week.
You mown your lawn, right?
Mowing your lawn, pouring
the concoction. Okay,
poured around the base of your mater plants.
It's poured. I checked it. Past tense.
All right, continue, Josh.
Supposedly, this is a miracle cure for everything that on the planet.
For everything.
Yeah, porn. You know.
I mean,
no, it's not.
Pour this
juice or this.
And it's specifically residue for
tomatoes, is what I heard.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a potassium thing? I mean, potassium.
You would think, because that's what bananas are known for. Is their
but you don't eat the peels.
Well, no, so we don't ever get that potassium. We only get the potassium that's in the ripened fruit within. But there has to be some that's also in the peels. You would think.
You would think.
I think we should market this as Josh Cary's tomato pouring.
Mater porn? Yeah. Ooh. Hey.
615-499-6690. You're listening to the At Home Show, hopefully viewing us here either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. We appreciate you checking us out. We also appreciate you sharing this to those who are your friends and your network. We're trying to put forth some really good quality information, have some fun along the way, so we appreciate.
And if porn comes out once in a while, you just never know.
But it's the past tense of the word poured, that version of it. Okay. We've got Austin, you've got some nice looking things there, and plant wise, in front of some annuals, some perennials, it looks like. Did you bring those out specifically to speak about some specific things, or is that just something that Cary thought was pretty and she
This
put
is
out
what
there?
Cary brought in. Yep, she brought
Purple
it for
shamrocks.
Me. Yes, the purple shamrock. That is pretty. That came in this week, and that is kind of cool. Oxalis, which when y'all were kids, do y'all remember eating oxalis out of the yard?
I used to hear it referred to as sour grass.
Sour grass?
Yeah, and it has a very minced. It's a little.
It's fantastic. Me and my brother used to eat this stuff out of the yard. We didn't even know about it. I didn't have any horticulture knowledge at all, but I would eat oxalis out of the grass.
This is in the days before people did weed control, so you should not be chewing on it that's been sprayed or treated with anything.
No, definitely not. But yeah, so what you think of this typically is what you think of in your lawn as a weed. I mean, it's a really hard weed to pull, actually. It tends to want to break before it comes out of the ground. And it's much smaller and green is what I'm talking about. This is obviously a different variety, different cultivar, even probably a hybrid with these purple leaves. It's also got some splashes of green in it, which is kind of cool. It flowers.
And it would be perennial too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a zone 7 plant. It's a zone 7 to 10.
And one of the things, although you see it has some flowers on it there, one of the great attributes of it, obviously the great attribute, is the colorful foliage that it has. And that gives you color throughout the growing season. It is an herbaceous thing, so it will die back down every year when cold weather arrives. But throughout the summer season, it really gives you a great show. And those also do quite well in an area that has some shade in it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a shade. It prefers shade here, if you ask me. It lays over bad. If it's dry, it'll tell you. I mean, it'll wilt down to. I mean, it'll just fall down on you. And once you water it, it'll come right back up. But yeah, it's a kind of shadish loving plant.
So oxalis, is that a type of clover, Austin?
Yeah, I've heard it called that too, like lawn clover or. I don't think it's technically a clover. No. Oxalis is the technical genus of the plant. And there's all forms of it. Like I said, like what we think of mainly is a small little weed in the yard that tastes kind of funny, good in a salad. But then this one's a nice hybrid variety that's got this purple foliage. It's an awesome plant. And green stems. I'm a sucker for colorful stems. And they've got it.
It makes those purple foliage just really stand out. It's a great contrast of colors and textures.
It is.
So, Austin, are you saying you could just eat that whole plant?
I don't. I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it tastes the same.
Well,
I don't know.
But I don't want
Give
to
it a
find.
try.
I don't want. I would not
Live.
recommend that because
Don't eat things that you don't know what
these
they
are sold
are.
as ornamental plants, not
Yes.
as edible plants, and you don't want. You don't know what they may have been treated with.
Exactly.
So,
And also oxalic acid, I mean, hence the name oxalis. Oxalic acid is what is the specific compound in the plant.
that's what gives
And
it that tart.
That taste, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how much you could eat of that before it would hurt you or help you or
I have
I don't
no
know.
idea.
Oxalic acid is also one of the better deck cleaners out there.
Okay,
if
there you
look
go.
for it.
Clean your deck.
Okay, so probably toxic.
Probably
What?
not going to eat that whole plant.
Hey, let's take a moment and talk about growing your plants. And if you're going to do the very best, you're going to do it with Earth Mix Garden products. And we are strong proponents here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. There are a great many of independent garden centers around Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, even up in Ohio and Indiana that are sellers of Earth Mix products. What really makes it special is that, number one, it's sustainably produced. A lot of care is taken to find locally sourced products or produced in-house, and it is 100% organic. Everything, there's no chemical additives. All the processes that are done are all naturally occurring. The only thing added is endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi and humic acid in the supernatural compost. And what that does is that gives you supercharged organics that really gives your plants the opportunity to perform at their very best. So no matter if you're growing a vegetable garden or you're growing landscape trees and shrubs and plants, the entire line of Earth Mix Garden products is all available for you all over Middle Tennessee, Kentucky area. Simply go out to the website earthmix.net and click on the Find Earth Mix tab. And once you're there, you're going to see the whole map show up that has all of the pin placements all over Tennessee, Kentucky, on up into Indiana and Ohio. So remember this. It's really important to remember the success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden products. We appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and to help you to get your very best success out of your efforts. You know, it's not saving you money if it doesn't do what you want it to do. And if you're cheap is a relative thing, and I contend the most expensive soils there are the ones that are potting soils that you sometimes
You mean
see.
you shouldn't get that from the mini market, David?
I think they kill a lot more plants than they do anything else. If you here's a clue. If you see a bag of it open, and there are weeds growing around it, but there's nothing growing in that bag, that is what we call a clue. You know, if it won't grow weeds, it may not grow the things you've just paid good money for. So keep that in mind.
David Bates?
Yes, Josh Cary.
You know what we haven't had?
Gant Rant with Cary Gant.
Sometimes she just needs to vent a little. It's Plant Rants with Cary Gant.
Yay! Good morning again.
Hey,
It's my time to shine now, Josh. Look out.
don't talk too
And
much.
everyone
Michael will
else.
talk about you
I
behind
know,
your back.
Next week he will.
No.
He'll call me out.
You've been talking too much for over 2 years.
Oh.
She just started
Two?
this.
I got to hit that 2-year mark.
Well, since I've been with you,
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, it
I'm the
didn't
first-
just start.
I'm the first producer.
By the
to
way,
stand up
this
to
is
you.
Carrie's.
Yeah, this is my
Carrie's time, but
Y'all hush.
there
Shut up,
was
get to
life
Josh.
before Michael.
And go. Here we go. So I brought in some philodendron and monstera today that we just got in the last couple days at the nursery. I know. I just heard a gasp over there, probably from Josh. We got a lot.
God, what tipped you off?
I don't know. Just that, I heard it in my headphones. We got some really cool ones that we haven't had in a long time, some that are a little harder to find. So I just wanted to showcase what we have going on right now. And actually, Austin found this yesterday while we were unboxing. So this Macaulay's Finale, which Austin has one of.
Say that 3 times quickly.
Macaulay's Finale, Macaulay's Finale, Macaulay's Finale. Did it, nailed it. I'm going to pull this plant in front of me. She is beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that orange that's in the plant. And what I was talking about Austin finding yesterday, I don't know, can you see it? There's a flower in there.
I see that.
So a lot of people think these philodendron don't flower. I'd say pretty much all plants do flower. They just have to have the right conditions. This is only the second time I've seen a philodendron that we've gotten in here at the nursery flowering. So something very rare and exciting on a Saturday morning.
Well,
So-
pretty much everything flowers,
Right.
but it might not be showy. Even conifers flower. You just don't know that there are blooms that are open on them.
Correct. And then just to kind of talk about what I do have out here, this is a green imperial philodendron, really similar to the Macaulay's Finale that we just looked at. I can say that 3 times fast again if we need to hear it a few more times.
Was he in Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Oh, it's Spicoli. Okay, never mind.
And then on the left of Macaulay's Finale, that's that second time I said it, is a Birkin. Those are pretty popular, very trendy plant. You can see the variegation on the leaves. It's white and dark green. That plant needs a little bit higher light in order to keep that variegation because they will revert back to a darker color leaf if
Now,
they don't get
what
enough
is
light.
the genus on that? Austin, do you know that on that particular plant?
The genus is just philodendron.
It is a philodendron.
Yeah, these are all philodendron.
And that's the great thing about philodendron is that they are really easy to care for plants. They can take quite a lot of sunlight. They can also handle quite a lot of shade.
They are. They love indirect light. So if you think about where these plants grow naturally, they grow in the jungle, on the jungle floor, and climb up trees. So they are climbing up towards light. But when you bring them home, you don't want to stick them out in full sun. We talk about this a lot on this show. It's going to burn the leaves. So if you want to get it in a more sunny location, you do need to let it acclimate. One really cool thing that I do like about monstera and philodendron is that they weep. So if you look at this little split leaf right here, you can see some water droplets on it. Can we see that? Yeah. Is anyone going to
I'm
answer?
trying as hard as I can.
So one thing this plant does to protect itself, so if you're overwatering, it will draw out water and moisture from the soil, and it comes out through the leaves, and it will weep. It drives some people
Cool.
crazy because it'll get on their hardwood floors, and it might damage them a little bit. So you can just put plastic down. Not really something you have to worry about if you're an underwaterer, though.
I have to say the key is to not overwater.
To not overwater. And so these plants are used to being out in the sun in the nursery, so I brought them in here yesterday. They didn't get a lot of light. It was dark, and that's actually the reason why they start weeping. The change of climate, it's a lot cooler in here and darker, so they were instantly trying to protect themselves by weeping, crying a little bit to let you know they need help. Yeah. And then this little guy right here, this philodendron Eva, she's a new variety. I had never seen her before. We got her in a couple weeks ago, and I didn't even know what kind of growth habit it has, but it looks like she's going to be a climber. You can see her
Now,
aerial roots coming out.
Is there a support in that container there that's helping it to, so it's standing up on its own?
It is standing up on its own.
So it probably can grow quite a lot before it flops over. So it's equipped to be able to attach itself to some kind of a
curtain.
Some kind of curtain, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh.
Rope ladder.
If it stayed in one spot too long, it could happen.
And these have actually grown. They came in, I'd say they've grown, I'm really bad with measurements, but 8 inches since we got them in just a couple weeks ago, which is a lot of growth.
Well, long days and warm, humid conditions are the kinds of things that they love wonderfully, and it's tropical season for people who really enjoy them, because not only can you enjoy them in the house, you can enjoy them outside if they're kept in the right location.
That's right, but bring them in the winter. I'd say October, beginning of October, maybe late September is a good time to start transitioning them inside, because if you do leave them out and you don't realize it's going to freeze, it's going to kill that plant right away, and it's going to be very sad. I've done it to a couple of mine. When you wake up and you see that dead philodendron, it's a little bit heartbreaking.
Well, and we will, to be sure, stay tuned here to the At Home Show. We will allow you to get the information you need as far as being cognizant of the fact that when frost and freezes will return. Likely that's going to be sometime in late October, early November. So, we got a little ways to go on that. But sometimes it does sneak up on you. One of the things we touched on last week is that, before you bring your plants back in the house, you don't want to bring those other things in with you as spraying. So don't forget about checking for pests, particularly on those things that are outside that you're going to bring in, because there are future problems ahead as far as spreading all those things to the plants that you already have inside. You don't want to be bringing scale and mealybugs and those kind of things in the house.
It's a good time for a prune before you bring them in. Like we were talking about with tomatoes earlier, pruning lower leaves. Same thing with houseplants. Get rid of some of those older, nastier leaves before you ever even bring them in. Sometimes just pruning gets rid of more pests than any sort of spray you could do. So,
and if you were going to top prune, say a philodendron, this is a really good time to do that, because it gives you a chance to remove that top. You can reroot it perhaps, and it also gives it a great opportunity to flesh out new growth and achieve a more compact growth habit before you bring it back in the house, because sometimes things get a little stringy in the winter stretching for light.
That's right.
Yes, they do. As long as you cut where there's a node, and what that is, it just looks like a root that's growing out of the plant.
Yep.
Then you can propagate it really easily, stick it in water, and then you'll have a new plant. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cary, for that information.
welcome.
And so come out and see Cary, any of the great staff. All of our tropicals, they are temporary, and we know it's a little bit inconvenient right now because we're having to route everyone from the front checkout area
It's kind of
through the
fun.
garden center. It does give you a good chance to get to look at all the containers that we have to show, which is a considerable amount. Before you get off the rant, let's talk about containers for just a moment. And we're going to have a friend, Karen, on.
Karen?
Yeah, Karen from Pottery Market. So Pottery Market is one of our distributors where we get a lot of our really nice pottery. Some of my favorite stuff comes from them.
Will she be bringing free samples, perhaps?
I think
If only, that would be amazing.
I think she'll only be here via Zoom, is what I think. But anyway,
she'll be bringing her great personality, though.
but
that's what matters.
okay.
and this is her business. She started this some years ago, and she's done very well with it. So we look forward to having her on. I had to bring her down and introduce her to Tyler and to Cary, and to say, okay, we really have a thing going on here, and we want to be able to demonstrate that we know how to talk to people and give them some information.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
David, if you got, since Carrie's done,
done.
have we got, can you go Michael's so we can show Michael's picture or Michael's mom's flowers
I
picture?
don't know if it's going to work or not.
We'll give it a try.
We're going to two.
I hope so. That's usually where we are.
We have had no success in switching this morning. All we've been getting is a whole lot of that right there.
Yeah,
No signal.
success.
Okay,
So I
well,
don't-
it was worth a try.
So every time we do that,
Mama's Michael did a good job.
so
Hey, I
don't-
saw it for a minute. That's nice. A little Lantana Scaevola mix. It's not bad. Looking good.
And it probably looks better than his neighbor's yard. So
Hey, I did your mom's hanging basket. How's it doing? Remember me and
It's
Cary did
doing
that.
great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Last time I was there, it looked good.
Well, that's good.
I mean, she waters it all the time, so.
Well, yeah, there's that.
It's a good thing.
Hanging baskets are bad about water, aren't they?
She just waters everything very much.
Well, good.
Well, and things that are in containers, particularly hanging baskets, almost impossible if it's outside to overwater it. I mean,
Pretty much.
there are some things, depending on what you've got planted in there and what kind of mix you used, that even twice a day can be necessary. So if you're going to do things, you see a lot of things further north and in the Pacific Northwest areas that traditionally are a little cooler, where they can have a lot of really cooler season type annuals that look gorgeous in these baskets. A little tougher here where we have as much heat. However, it would seem so far this year that our summer has been a lot milder than theirs has.
It hasn't been that
it's a
bad,
very
yeah.
We're
very
not burning.
No.
We're not burning, and we're not burning up. We haven't had triple digits here. We've really barely been into.
The 90s.
We've been into the upper 90s a few times, but not very much. So we have not had these long extended spells, which really makes it nice if you're a gardener. You like to get out and dig in the dirt and water the things you've got coming along.
Hey, I'll let you know this year I did this. Last year I bought 6 containers, 6 hanging baskets for my front porch, all the same. And I bought them as they already were, mainly in a peat moss type mix is what they use.
Right.
And
Very light, very
light.
porous.
And I had to water last year like you wouldn't believe. They're hanging baskets. They're up in the air. They just take, they drain quicker. This year what I decided to do is reuse those hanging baskets, use landscape, which is our it's a mix we use for all sorts of applications, but I like it for containers.
Yep.
I use landscape, and I just bought individual plants and replanted my hanging baskets this year. I've had to water much less. They've rooted into that landscape. It's been great. I've got begonias and dichondra, which is a silver falls, an awesome little trailing plant, and they look fantastic, and it's been a lot less water.
Well, and what you get with either Earth Mix Landscape or Proganics O or I, you're getting soils that are what we would refer to as more hydroscopic. That means they have the greater capacity to be able to absorb and hold moisture without using any kind of a synthetic moisture holding crystals or anything.
I don't like those things anyway.
I don't either.
No.
And so it's a whole lot better if you could do it
Is that what they put in diapers?
Similar, I think.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cat litter, too.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't.
Oh boy, cat litter in your mix. Yeah,
Not a good idea.
No.
All right. Well, we're rapidly approaching the end of the program. We want to thank everyone who sent in questions today, and we'll remind you that this feed is available throughout the week. So anytime that you've got a few moments, you can stop and take a break and check out what we've got going on here today. Remind you that
YouTube is available too.
Put it up in the office.
Oh yeah.
If you got an office, big screen.
Put it on a loop and just let it run continuously in your foyer.
And remind you once again, Bates Rewards members, 15% off everything going on at Bates Nursery right now, excluding gift cards and deliveries. Other than that, what you see, it's all available at 15% off. So come out and see us. That ends on Thursday.
The Spicoli plan is 15% off?
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And those just came in. And we don't go in there and adjust prices up to mark them down. It's the same prices we always get on them. So come on in, check that out. Be whether you need plants or you need soils and amendments, the Earth Mix Landscape, like Austin was just talking about, all those things, whether it's in a bag or a bulk, doesn't matter. Come on out and see us. We're going to help you get the right plants and the right things to grow with them the first time. That's the way we do it out here at Bates Nursery.
Before we get out of here, we want to send our best thoughts and prayers out to our old friend Phil Valentine, who is in the hospital in Williamson County, suffering from COVID and COVID-related complications.
Well, and our very own Julie Patterson has been dealing with that for the last couple of weeks. She is feeling much better. We're grateful for that, and we hope and pray that Phil also gets a much
old
better
friend
quickly.
of our show. Yeah, old friend of the show. So.
Yes.
His son sounds just like him.
He does sound just like him.
Maybe we can have him dancing in the booth in here one day.
Perhaps.
Dancing in the green room?
It's a bit
He
a little
stole something from
limited.
me one time. We'll tell that story next week. But hopefully, Phil, get everything he's going to get
Get
better.
well soon.
All right, folks. Music means that this hour of the At Home show is coming to a close. And
It's easy for you to say.
Huh? I got mouth porn this morning, so I mean everything's going on. All right, folks. For the whole crew here at the At Home Show, we do thank you for being here, and we'll see you right here next Saturday morning at 0800 Central Standard Time for the